Hi, I'm Dominique. I'm known as Dom Profit on all of the social channels, and I'm here to talk to you about how to show your donors love. This presentation will be a guide to showing your donors love and not treating them like a cash machine. Now that we know what I'm going to be talking about, who am I? Why am I talking to you? So, I am currently working as the Associate Director of Annual Giving and Special Events at the YW Boston. The YW Boston is a part of the national organization of YWs, and our mission is to eliminate racism and empower women with a particular focus on women of color. In addition to my role at YW, I'm involved in a number of nonprofits in the Boston area, including the Young Nonprofit Professional Network as the co-director of programming and events, the Resilient Sisterhood Project as a member of their Young Advisory Leadership Council, and AFP Massachusetts as a member of two of their committees, the IDEA Committee, which is focused on inclusion, diversity, equity, and access, and the Education Committee, which puts on a lot of the programming that helps to enlighten our fundraisers here in Boston. With that, I come to you today with about 6 years of professional fundraising and nonprofit experience. In addition to those 6 years, I've been in the nonprofit space for a long time prior to those 6 years, so I come to you with a lot of experience to reflect on and give my opinion and take on donor love. Before I actually start talking about donor love, I wanted to kind of point out the elephant in the room. I am not literally here talking to you right now. I am recording this for you, and I'm sure you're probably going to have questions and comments, and I want to answer those. So if you want to ask me a question during the presentation, feel free to either tweet or tag me on Instagram, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. In addition to that, I have prepared a little resource for you so that you can start thinking about how you're going to show your donors more love and start planning that out for your organizations. So, what are we going to talk about? Well, one, we're going to define and explain the importance of this new phenomenon of donor love that kind of hit the nonprofit scene in the last 2 or 3 years. We're also going to talk about how to reach your donors where they are so that you're showing them the love that they need. In addition, we're going to talk about some steps and ideas for your donor love / loyalty plans and share some best practices that I've seen and that I've actually used. So, now, why are we even talking about donor love and donor loyalty? What is the significance of donor love? Well, did you know that over 70% of first-time donors don't give again? I'm going to say that one more time. Over 70% of first-time donors don't give again. In addition to the 70% of first-time donors that don't give again, 60% of repeat donors renew their gifts. So while you have a little bit of a better chance of getting your second year donors to renew, there's still a big gap there. I want to see all of my donors renewing their gifts, but I know that's not realistic, but I want to get to as close as that as possible. And how are you going to do that? Well, you have to start thinking about how you're showing your donors love. So, what is donor love? Like I said, within the last 3 or so years, all of a sudden it was donor love this and donor love that. Donor love, donor love, donor love. But what is it? Where did it come from? Why is it here? Well, donor love really has been here all along, and we just kind of rebranded it into donor love. Donor love is really just donor relations. And donor relations, at the simplest core of what donor relations are the strategies and the effort that your organization is making to have high quality interactions with their donors and their constituents that will then turn into long-term engagement and investment for your organization. So really, donor love and donor relations, it's about the long game, making sure that we have people with us and committed with us for the long haul. In order to even get people to commit and be with us for the long haul, you really have to start thinking about what it is that donors want. Why are they even becoming donors? Why are they giving to your organization? At the simplest core of it all is that the donor wants to feel empowered. They want to feel connected to the work that your organization is doing, and they want to feel that they are doing good and that you're grateful for the good that they're doing. In addition, with any other investment, donors want to see proof of their dollars working. I'm not investing in a stock and keeping my investment there if I don't see proof of it working or understand the reason why it's not working. So we'll talk about proof of impact a little bit later, because it's one of those that it's like, I don't want to tell the proof of my impact because it's not there yet. But we'll talk about that. Now, the other big thing about donor relations is just being genuine. Donors want genuine relationships with these organizations that they're giving to. And I'm a big fan of hip hop and sports, so you'll see a little sprinkle and dabble of that in my presentation for sure. So bear with me. But my girl Lauryn Hill says, let me break it down for you again. I only say it because I'm truly genuine. And that's how you should approach your donor relations. You should be genuine with all your donors and only say things that you truly mean. I think that oftentimes donors are given these spiels that are specifically crafted to what their needs are and not what the organization's needs are, and that's not being true to your organization's needs, and a donor can see that. If you're going to craft this dynamic statement that's going to get this specific donor, you're not setting yourself up for success. And a donor can read right through that. So just remember, be genuine with your donors. Now, the big thing with donor love and donor relations is it's kind of sitting on these 4 elements that get you through donor love and donor relations. So, the first element of donor love is acknowledgement. Now, for a lot of folks, they like to think that acknowledgement is the end of the route for donor love, but it's really just the beginning. So, acknowledgement comes once you received your first gift. You received your first gift, and you should promptly acknowledge that gift to your donors. Let them know that you got it and that you appreciate that you got the gift. Because if you don't, then they're going to be like, oh, did I even donate to that organization? And you won't be top of mind. And you want to be top of mind for your donors. You want them to remember you. In addition to wanting your donors to remember you, you want them to feel like you're connected and grateful for that gift. So, you need to have personalized touches that will help build that relationship with the donor so that they know that you're thankful and that they are connected to you. So what does acknowledgement really look like in action? It looks like I said, personal notes on thank you letters. Writing a little extra goes a long way. Showing them that you know them. If you met this donor before, mention that you met the donor before. And that you remember the conversation about their interest in X, Y, and Z. Or if you haven't met the donor before, let them know that you're interested in chatting at one point. Hearing how they got involved with your organization. You want to let them know that you know and you care for them. Another really good way to put this into action is using statements that connect them to your organization and let them know that you're grateful and show them proof of impact. This BOY statement does just that. BOY stands for because of you. Now, this because of you statement, connects your donor to the organization. They feel like they are a part of the work that you're doing. It lets them know what impact is being made. Again, donors want to know that their investment is doing something for them. So let them know. And then also, you could, depending on how you end that statement, you can hit them with and I'm so grateful for this. And then you get all three. And you hit a lot of the major things that your donors want to see from you. Additionally, testimonials and gratitude statements go a long way with donors. It lets them know what's happening with your organization, and also lets them know that you're thankful that you have them in your community, and that's important to them. The next thing is stewardship. Stewardship is the meat and potatoes of donor love. This is where you're really going to do those actionable steps that are going to help you build a relationship with your donors. So, how are you going to steward your donors? There are two ways that I like to look at stewardship. There's a content-based strategy of stewardship and an engagement-based strategy of stewardship. I'm not saying you should do one or the other, but these are the two buckets that really things fall into for me. Content looks like providing them some information that is related to your work. So that could look like newsletters, book lists, calendars, things that tie back to your organization and provide them some sort of content. Donors love blog posts. They want to be able to read about the work and they want to be able to share that. That's content that you can give to your donors and they will feel like they're connected to your organization. The other piece of that, the other bucket of stewardship is engagement. So with engagement, those are ways that are tangible for the donor to engage with your work. So volunteer opportunities to join boards, whether it's junior boards, governing boards, advisory boards, committees, things of that nature. They want to find ways to connect with your organization in a tangible way. They want to attend events. They want face-to-face visits where they get to talk with program staff. They want that time to engage and learn more about your organization. They're investing, so they want to be deeply rooted in your organization so that they understand what's going on and that they feel like they are truly a part of the community and not just throwing you some cash because they're a cash machine. The next part, recognition. Recognition can be one of those that is a little tricky because with recognition, you want to let the donors know that their contribution is important to you, and you want to do it in a way that is public so that they feel that they are truly recognized, but you also have to take into account your organization's values and the values and preferences and the culture of your donors. That is also a big part of how you're going to recognize your donors. You want to make sure, again, that it's genuine and respectful of your values as an organization and your donors' values. So what does that look like in action? Again, personal notes are a great way to do this because it allows them to feel like they're being recognized again, but also for those donors that are interested in being recognized in a more intimate way, thank you notes has that covered for them. Mentioning donors on social media. I mean, one of the most surefire ways is around corporate giving when you have a sponsor and you give them a shout out. You could do that same thing for an individual donor. An individual donor that has been a part of your community for a long time, give them a shout out on the anniversary of their first gift and say, this donor has been with us for X years and we're grateful for their contributions. Also, you could do things like donor profiles and interviews in your newsletter. Other donors want to see who else is committed to you. Who else are you guys engaging with? That they want to know that there's a bigger community of greater than just them and the organization. They want to feel a part of something. So give them that opportunity to see that they're a part of something through a donor profile or interview. Now, the final element of donor love reporting. And you're probably like, reporting? Yes, reporting. Reporting is key in anything in development. You need to be able to report. Now, reporting comes in a couple of different ways. It could be making sure you have the right data so that you're able to do things specific to your donors so that they know that you know them. Or it could look like reporting out so that your donors know that there's a proof of impact for their gift. So let's talk about reporting a little. What does reporting look like in action? Well, when it comes specifically to the donor side of it, it looks like sharing information about what is going on with the organization. You can do that in a couple of different ways. Personal notes and thank yous in addition to the notes that you've already sent out to your donor. Letting them know that, hey, it's been a couple weeks since your gift, and because of your gift, or even maybe a couple months, but because of your gift, we were able to do this. In addition to thank you notes, sharing your impact in reports, like annual reports and impact reports, really go a long way for your organization and the donor. So with an impact report or an annual report, you're able to share your organization's story over the whole year and also recognize the donor and report out to the donor what you were able to do. Who doesn't like a product that's doing double the work for you? Also, call your donors. As a millennial, I feel like I'm quick to say, like, don't call me, text me. But donors like to hear from you. They want to know that you care about what they think and want to share what's going on with the organization. So give them a call. I'm not saying call them out the blue. Schedule a call. Do schedule the call. But do call your donors. I think that's part of the art of donor love that's been a little lost. People aren't calling their donors and letting them know that, one, that they care, and two, what's going on with the organization. And again, no one wants to continue investing in something if they don't know what's going on. I have never met a person that invested in something and then was like, well, that's it. I'm going to just keep investing without any background knowledge or any updates. That's not how this works. So, you want to talk about best practices? Let's talk best practices. Some of the things that I've seen or done personally that really work, some were highlighted in my presentation earlier, but I wanted to just really highlight again as one of the best practices for donor love. Again, reporting on impact. I cannot stress this enough. Reporting on impact is important because you won't invest in something you don't have knowledge about. So you want them to know what's going on so that they continue investing. Tell a story. I am a big fan of stories because they let your donor know about what's going on with your organization in the most genuine way possible. It will give you the ups and downs. It will give you the negative and the positive. But at the end of the day, it's a story about your organization. So one, it's going to connect your donor with your organization more. And two, it's also going to provide them the context they need as to why they should continue supporting your organization. Now, with storytelling, I think oftentimes we fall into, I'm a program person or I'm on the fundraising team, I'm going to tell the story. But let your constituents tell the story. The voice of the people that you're serving are very powerful, and part of what your work should be doing is uplifting those voices. So let those voices tell your story. It doesn't always have to be your executive director, your chief development officer, your program person. It could be the people that are benefiting. Now, while you're doing that, make sure you're not doing it in a way that makes those constituents feel like they are a prop. You don't want that because then that's disingenuous and you're going to lose your constituents. They're not going to feel like they are how do I put it? They're not going to feel like they are, you know, in an organization that truly cares about them. To be quite frank, like, no one wants to go to an organization that makes them feel icky. So don't make your constituents feel icky, but also have them tell your story because they are a powerful voice. Now, on to reporting. Segmenting your list is your biggest friend. In segmenting your list, you're going to be able to really tell what you know about the donors, and you'll be able to use that when you're trying to personalize things and send out blast emails that are specific to a particular population in your donor base. That's important. That's going to help them feel like this is a personal connection to the organization. My biggest tip for you around donor love is to include these activities in your plan. I've seen time and time again organizations that say that they want to do specific activities that are targeted towards showing their donors love, and then something else comes up and it falls to the wayside. Now, that doesn't happen with your newsletter and things like that because it's scheduled into your work plans. So schedule donor love into your work plans, whether it's quarterly, bi-monthly, whatever works for your organization. Make sure that you're including that in your work plan so that it gets done. Establishing giving societies is also a great way to build community amongst your donors. And by building community amongst your donors, you'll be able to have them feel connected to your organization. And again, what do donors want? They want to feel connected to your organization. And then my other best practice for you is use a mix of channels. I've seen organizations that have done all their donor love engagement things on one channel. They send them all out via social media or they send them all out via email. But again, you need to show your donors that you know them and that you know that they're not always on their email or they're not always on social media. You want to meet them where they are. So mix up your channels so that people in your donor database are seeing you show love in a variety of ways. It shouldn't just be that you're sending out a blast via email or a blast via social media. Do it in a variety of ways at different times. So, the biggest takeaway that I want you to take from my presentation is the key to lasting donor relationships is just to show some love. Now, my guy Biggie Smalls over here, he says, spread love, that's the Brooklyn way. Well, I'm going to walk away from this presentation telling you, spread love, that's the fundraiser way or the nonprofit way, but just spread some love. And again, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, email me, whatever. I would love to hear from you, and feel free to download that resource that I have put together for you. And if you have questions,